Torkil Færø. Really, really enjoyed talking to him. He's a general practitioner, a doctor in Norway. He's written 5 books. The last book was, they're all bestsellers, but the last book, there was the top 3 books in Norway last year. Fascinating, talks about wearables and how it's not a theme, but definitely how wearables can help. I happen to wear one of the rings, one of the watches. He does as well. What we can do, what should we do with that information? Very important. He mentioned that there's only one book on all of Amazon that actually talks about that. There's so many books about diets and exercise, but none that actually point that out. Heart rate variability, HRV. Do you know what that does? Do you know what it measures? He feels it's one of the most or the most important measurement you could take on yourself. Where are you right now when there's stress on your body? Where does it go to? Fascinating discussion. We also just talk about the medical profession in general, how it's so reactive now. When somebody gets sick, then they address it. It's not proactive. He's hoping, I'm hoping, hopefully we're all hoping that with a lot of the technology that's available, with all the knowledge sharing, that we could be proactive. We can get healthy ourselves so we won't have to deal with anything that needs to be reacted by. But just a great conversation with Torkil. He does a lot of traveling. He spent a year on a boat, on a catamaran with his family, went all through the Mediterranean, across the Atlantic. Fascinating stories, fascinating individual. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others. For the audience, Torkil Færø, I believe your last name is pronounced. Really nice to meet you. So tell me about, you go on these boating trips, Torkil, with your family, where it's just you and your family on the boat, and you go for weeks at a time.
Yeah, or years.
You went for years?
Or I won 1 year. Yeah.
1 year you were on a boat with your family. Where did you're in Norway. Where you started in Norway? Where did you go?
No, we started in Greece, and we sailed, all around the Caribbean, through the Panama Canal and out to the Pacific, to French Polynesia. And then COVID hit, and we just found out that, okay, we actually need to sell the boat and buy a new one.
Wow.
So, but still, we're sailing like this summer for 4 weeks in the Caribbean, and we've been, it's nice to be with your family, out on the sea, getting some sunlight, enjoying life. That's what it's about.
In this fast-paced MSP landscape, how do you stay ahead? Introducing MSPinfluencer.com, your ultimate hub for MSP news, insights, and community connection, powered by Forza Dash. More than 75,000 MSPs subscribe to our MSP Influencer Pulse weekly newsletter, staying informed and ahead of industry trends. Tune in to emerging podcasts from Joey Pinz and leading MSP voices, offering essential tips, powerful insights, and success stories. Explore our multi-authored blogs, crafted specifically for MSP leaders, delivering fresh perspectives and actionable strategies. Celebrate excellence with the industry-leading Forza-MSP Influencer Awards, recognizing innovation, leadership, and impact in the MSP community. Join thousands of MSP professionals who trust MSPinfluencer.com to grow their business and expand their networks. MSPinfluencer.com, where today's MSP leaders connect, collaborate, and conquer, all powered by the Forza platform, helping MSP vendors work effectively with MSPs and helping MSPs grow.
Yeah.
So when you left you started in Greece and you left the Mediterranean, so you go out of the Strait of Gibraltar, you go through the Atlantic to go to the Panama Canal. How long were you without land? How long did that take you?
That would be like 17 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, 17 days, and then what? You hit Florida, you hit the Bahamas, did you go to Bermuda?
We have been to the Bahamas, yeah, but we hit then Saint Lucia,
St. Lucia.
like Grenada,
Right.
all of the other islands in that area.
Wow. And
So
everybody's got their own job to do?
yeah, or generally, I'm the skipper. My wife, co-skipper, and then the children. We're children. We've been sailing from they were like 1 year old, right? So
Wow.
now they're grown up and they want to be the sailors themselves. So
Of
it's
course. How many
it's
children?
two children.
Wow, so 4 of you on a ship by yourself. That
And,
must
and
be
and
incredible.
then we have friends because it's a
Ah,
catamaran. So we have always only
ah,
sailed catamaran. So we have our own hull, and then we have a visiting family or friends in the other hull. So it's nice. You
ah.
don't get too annoyed with each other. You can go to your own hull. It's more easier than on a monohull on a usual
Right, I don't
normal
know.
sailboat. Yeah.
And you've been doing this your whole life, sailing?
No, no. I had never sailed until I decided to buy a boat and go sailing. Yeah. And
Wow,
I was probably 34, 35 or so. Yeah. I had
incredible.
no abilities whatsoever into sailing or being handy because when you're sailing, you need to acquire some handyman skills, right?
Yes.
That I didn't have. So I needed to. So your podcast is about discipline, and kind of sailing disciplines you. If
Mm,
you don't do the work, there will be something to pay for that
yes.
around the corner when the wind starts to blow hard, and
Mm,
or you make some mistakes. Yeah, there will be, yeah, more visible punishment for being
mm.
sloppy. Yeah,
Yeah, because Mother Nature's in charge, Torkil, right? So, I mean,
that's
I'm a
right.
pilot, so, in aviation, we learned that. So, if Mother Nature doesn't want you to fly, we don't fly, but if you're on the water, you just try to avoid it, you dock, you have to kinda listen, correct?
Yeah, yeah. And
Amazing.
sometimes the unexpected will happen, and you just have to, well, do something about it. You
Hmm.
can't just turn off the TV and go to bed. There's
No.
something to be done. Yeah.
And when you did the year trip, I mean,
Mm.
that's you planned it completely out. You're gonna be at this particular area this time. Yeah, that's a long I had no I have no idea how to plan
Mm.
for that.
Yeah, I did plan for a long time, and what really happened changed my life because
Huh.
we were out to sail for 4 years. We were
Whoa.
going to sail all around the world, and but when we got to Panama, just by the canal, I got a text message from my father that has been admitted to hospital
Whoa.
and having cancer. And he had been on the boat just 1 month earlier
Mm,
without me recognizing anything wrong,
mm,
right?
mm.
And okay, we were at the canal. We got the message cancer, terminal cancer, just packed our bags within 48 hours, and we were back home in Norway.
Wow.
And then basically watching him wither away for like 3 months. So less than 4 months after he was on the boat, he was in the grave, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And so the trip, the 1 year trip ended there. We went back later, but what I then had to focus on because my dad was 73 and I could just look in the mirror and I saw that okay, I have spent all my energy trying to plan and finance this trip. And I had kind of overlooked my own health level, even
Mm,
being a doctor. And I understood that, oh, I'm starting to look like my patients. I'm overweight, underslept, undertrained, using too much alcohol, too much nicotine, and poor nutrition knowledge and yeah. So I just had to turn everything around and change my life. And part of the books that I've been writing since, I now have, in Norway, like 5 best-selling books,
mm.
and they're all about health and how to take control of your health. And then, so I use that switch, in because everything that I had dreamt of came to a sudden halt.
Hmm.
And then I had to do something completely different, and kind of, yeah, go in a totally different direction.
Perhaps your father gave you the greatest gift possible.
Yeah, I think so. Of course, if I could turn back time, and
Hmm.
then change that, of course, I would have wanted my father to live longer. But, well, as things turned out, at least I could use that experience to improve my own chances of living a longer, fuller life, and also then help other people to realize the same. So something good came out of that. Yeah. So where I would have been if that hadn't happened, if his cancer was discovered earlier and I would continue on the 4-year trip,
Hmm.
I probably never would have changed.
Wow.
So you change. You have both the carrot and the stick, right? And
Hmm.
it's nice with the carrot, but sometimes you need the stick too. It's more
Mm.
motivating. In many ways. So
Yeah, you make a point of saying that 73 age, is your relatives generally around that age have died, I think you said?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I took a look at the chart, at the family history, and saw that very few of my close relatives would be much more than that. So I understood that I got nothing free from my genes. So
Mm.
I need to
Mm.
do the job myself, at least to do what I can to improve my chances of living longer.
Hmm. You talk about heart rate variability, HRV.
That's
I
right.
didn't I didn't hear that term before I researched you.
Yeah, so heart rate variability is something I hadn't heard about until 2019.
Hmm.
I was sailing in the French Polynesia, close to Tahiti, and I was reading a book by Bessel van der Kolk called "The Body Keeps the Score," and he was telling about heart rate variability being a biometric that could measure the state of the autonomic nervous system. And that was something I had been very curious about. So when I understood that you can actually measure the state of your autonomic nervous system, whether you are in the stressful state or in the recovery state, and to which degree, I was just intrigued and started using these modern tools to keep track of it and to help me further along on the health journey that I had already been on. But it kind of gave me actionable results that helped me, improve further. So
And
heart rate variability, heart rate variability is a variation between heartbeats. So both me probably and most doctors and most people would think that a very steady heartbeat is the best kind of a heartbeat. But it turns out that you want and you need variation between heartbeats so that the heartbeats behave like a wave, with a top and then sinking to the bottom. So it's a kind of a ocean wave pattern to a good heart rhythm. So when you breathe in, then your heart rate will go up
hmm,
because there's more oxygen in the lungs and it will push that through more effectively. And when you breathe out and there's less oxygen, it can relax just a little bit, measured in milliseconds, just to save some energy while there is less oxygen in the lungs. And that would be in the recovery restful state that we are evolutionary made for to be in most of the time of the day. So if we put these wearables on hunter-gatherer societies that still exist today, they would be in the stressful state for like 3 hours of the day.
hmm.
Okay, but of course, the heart rate then will behave differently in the stressful state. Then it will beat more like a metronome, just like it's kind of thinking that, okay, this organism needs to use all available energy, even when there's less oxygen in the lungs, because we don't know if this organism will survive, because this system is ancient. We have this system in common with all vertebrates, all reptiles and so on, all mammals. So it's really a basic fundamental system in the bottom of our physiology, and we need to have this system right, for our whole body to function well. So that is why these tools are so important, like the Aura
Mm.
Ring, the Garmin watch, and all of the smartwatches that we have today that can help us. And of course, with the algorithms and the artificial intelligence, you have like incredible tools to help us get healthier and to motivate us towards better health.
Yeah, certainly the case. The problem I have, Torkel, is that I have an Oura ring, I have a Samsung watch, I have another Garmin watch that I use when I play golf, so it gives me the distances and when I swim. But I mean, there's a little bit of paralysis by analysis. There's so much data, and it's given to me in different reports, and sometimes the reports conflict. My ring will tell me my sleep score is excellent, and my watch will tell me it was just good.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to glean. So it gets confusing. What do you do about that?
Yeah, so I tend to listen more to my Garmin watch than my Aura Ring.
Interesting.
My Aura Ring is much kinder to me. So it's
Ah,
kind of the Garmin watch is more, I don't say, it's I will often more often get a full score on the Aura Ring than I will get on the Garmin watch. And
interesting.
they will measure and evaluate the things that they get in their systems a little bit different.
I see. I see. So you're saying that the Oura ring tends to be a bit more liberal and more complementative. And
Yeah,
whereas the Garmin kind of gives you the straight. It's very
yeah,
interesting. I'll have to take
yeah.
I'll have to take a look at that and start noticing that if it's one is better than the other. But I mean, as far
Mm.
as you know, wearables is one thing, but why don't we have, and we certainly don't have them here in the States that I know of, but why aren't our toilets checking our stools and our urine? Why aren't our refrigerators checking the nutritional value of the food that's in there? Why, as a technologist, I'm demanding more, Torkel. Perhaps it's
Mm.
just it
Well,
should be better.
it will probably come sooner, huh? But the most important things is the heart rate variability
Ah,
and the evaluation of sleep. So you already have in these
I see.
devices the most important thing you can have to regulate the stress balance and see if it's sustainable with health over time.
Hmm,
So the best tools are already available. You don't
I
have to
see.
wait for the future. It's
I
already
see.
here.
I see what you're saying. And how is HRV, the heart rate variability, how is that demonstrated in reports with the Garmin? I don't remember ever seeing that stat. Is it
Oh
there?
yeah, oh yeah. You will get it the HRV overnight, and
Ah,
you will get really nice and curves from like the 4 weeks. You can see if you're on the way down or up, so you can see patterns over time.
hmm,
And the best thing is that they use the HRV to give you the stress levels in the moment. So right now, my stress level is 46, which is from 0 to 100, which is appropriate stress levels if I'm on a podcast and trying
hmm,
to explain things, right? So now it's 39. So I will have, it's like a speedometer. It's like the needle on your speedometer that will tell you the intensity that you put on yourself
hmm,
at any given moment. And of course, then it makes it so much easier to regulate. And for many people, it's a big surprise to see that this needle is just like if you're in your car and you suddenly see that you're going at 110 miles an hour
hmm,
while you thought you were doing 70, right? So because you didn't have that information earlier. So this is like getting suddenly insight into
hmm,
what goes on under the hood in your car, which of course makes it so much easier. Or you can compare it with getting insight into your budget, knowing the prices of things in the
hmm,
supermarket, knowing what you have in your bank account, whether you can afford it or whether you have to pull up your credit card to pay for it, right? So what the Garmin watch in particularly, it will give you a body battery in the morning. And then you can see, okay, have I saved up some energy for today or not? And throughout the day, you will see the body battery going down or up if you are at a recovery situation. And then you can see maybe at the end of the day, maybe your body battery is like 20, and that would be a good way to spend your energy. Waking up with 80 or so in body battery and going down to 20. That would be good. The people who have that level, I can see that they're healthier with less symptoms than others. So,
Hmm. What were the major things that you changed in your life after this kind of come to Jesus moment with your father and you had to lose the weight and cut those things out? What were some of the major
mm,
changes?
I think the probably the most important change was cutting out alcohol or
Really?
reducing it to a minimum. I was at a like 3 day epic wedding, just this weekend, drinking alcohol one of the days, and that will take me 5 days until I'm back at the same
Wow. Epic.
productive
Really?
rate that I was, and that is also the findings of Whoop. I have the Whoop band on my right wrist. Um, that it will take 5 days until you're back at the same recovery rate.
Wow.
So alcohol, which I thought was a stress, management tool, seems then to be the worst stressor of all, according
Hmm.
to Whoop. So it tells you how wrong you can be about health. That the worst thing you thought was healthy. And so alcohol was probably the most important. And I started exercising, training, doing strength training, some cardio, and started to lose weight, lost 40 pounds.
Wow.
Started caring about sleep. I had been working as a doctor and we often did night shifts. I did many night shifts. It was very uncomfortable, but that it was downright dangerous, I had no idea. We didn't
Hmm.
know it at the time. We didn't really know. We knew, of course, that lifestyle had some effect on our lives, but not to this extent that we know now. That you can deprive yourself of like 2.5 decades of vital life, by
Wow.
doing things that are not very smart.
Yeah, I kind of look Torkel as sleep, nutrition, and of course exercise as kind of the three pillars.
Yeah. Stress management. Yeah.
Stress management.
Alcohol. Mm. Relationships. Having good relationships is important.
Mm.
Of course, refraining from smoking and other kinds of nicotine.
Mm.
So that would be some of the most important things. Yeah.
I mean, we all hear that stress is detrimental to health, but I mean, it really does pay a toll. And you make a distinction between not really good stress, but non-negative stress and negative stress, correct?
Yeah. Or useful stress or useless
That's
stress.
right. Useful use.
So some of the stress, because we are supposed to stress, we're supposed to put both physical and mental
Mm.
challenges on our system to grow, to become stronger. But some of the stress that we put on ourselves, like alcohol, like nicotine, like food, junk food, or food we cannot tolerate, is just depleting ourselves of energy and creating inflammation in our bodies that is not helping us. While other kinds of stress, having challenges, doing hard things,
Mm.
having lectures, well, or exercising and so on, can be stressful, but we will be rewarded by becoming stronger in the end, as long as we are able to recover. So we're not necessarily overstressed, but we are mostly under recovered. We haven't
Mm.
seen the value of recovery. And of course, what these devices do is that they show you when you are in the recovery state, because that is not so easy to know. And if you are used to having a very high speed, you are suddenly thinking that, as in your car. I've been driving on the highways in Germany where you can drive at, I think it must be 120 miles an hour or even more. It's a free speed limit, so you can push your car to the maximum. And when you then break down to go into a gas station and you break down to say 30 miles an hour, you are thinking you are at the standstill. You are almost opening the door, right? Because it feels like you're just have stopped the car.
Interesting.
And it's the same way, I think, with we are living stressful lives with a lot of pressure and no time for recovery. So when we think we are relaxing, we can see when you get these devices on, the smartwatches, that we are not really relaxing. There's another level
Mm.
below this that you need to reach to truly recover in a physiological sense.
Hmm. I like what you said, that we're not de-stressing enough. We're not recovering enough. That's very interesting, because if you do get stressed, recovery is essential.
Yeah. And recovery in that state is also the most creative. So if you are
Hmm.
doing something all the time, you're not really, the best brain state is the default mode network, the creative network.
Hmm.
And to get into that state of mind, you need to relax. If you are focused and concentrated all the time, you're not getting into this network.
Mm.
And this
Mm.
network is when you are starting to mix memories, new ideas, feelings. It's typically while you're driving, while you're going for a walk, and then suddenly an idea pops up in your head. And that is because your brain has been in this mode and kind of ruminating on the ideas that you're having for the moment, comparing them to old memories and so on, and then coming up with some new ideas. So it
Hmm.
seems like the best business people, the best athletes and artists, they are all very good at being in this restful state. And that
Hmm.
is part of the keys to their success. So it's not just to push on through all the time that is going to give you success. It's being able to switch from the on mode and to the off mode.
Hmm. Hey, Joey Pinz here. Want to take your podcast experience to the next level? I'm excited to invite you to become a YouTube member. It's the absolute best way to support the channel and enhance your connection. Join our amazing community and unlock the incredible perks, custom loyalty badges, exclusive emojis, and priority comment replies. Your voice will always stand out. Be the first to watch new videos with early access, receive special membership shoutouts, and get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and updates. Dive into content available only to our members, special videos, deep dives, and insider perspectives. Engage directly with me. Suggest podcast topics you want to hear, and even get personalized video shoutouts. Hit the join button right now and become part of something special. Let's build this amazing community together. I can't wait to welcome you as a new member. Join the Joey Pinz family today. There was a study just recently released on Alzheimer's, and they were saying that those that are part of a community that, of course, exercise, nutrition, and they talked about keeping the mind challenged. So like games like Sudoku and chess and things like this are all just so beneficial to longevity and to keeping away from those kind of degenerative
Mm.
diseases like Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I saw that. So to
Yeah.
have relationships, to be communicating with people, and using your mind is a healthy thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you talk about those blue zones too, where they're not doing anything. I mean, they're not spending a lot of money on expensive treatments or anything, right? They're just have, like you
Mm.
said, they have relationships. They're walking. My relatives on my father's side are all from southern Italy, and they walk everywhere, and they really live differently, and nobody's overweight, and everybody's smiling, and everybody's healthy and happy. It's just very different. Something that we can really learn from here in the States.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So they lived a natural life. So what helps us is to live more or less like in the in the under the circumstances that has been through evolutionary times. You
Mm,
have been outside, you're sleeping in the night, you're eating food that your intestinal system and immune system recognizes as food.
mm.
uh, so you're having social good relationships, you are moving on a daily basis, going up hills and down hills. Some of one of the blue zone, of course, is in Sardinia in Italy.
Virginia,
So,
yeah.
and it's also under the sun. So you're in
Mm.
Florida, so you're lucky you got the sun available at all times, throughout the year. So sunlight, it seems, and we can also see that in heart rate variability, that in the summertime, especially in Norway, it's so obvious that your whole circulatory system and your whole immune system works better in the summer under the sunlight.
Wow.
Yeah. So the mitochondria are better. Nitric oxide is released in the skin. We get endorphins from the sun, and there's so many mechanisms that helps us, and we can see it in the heart rate variability.
Yeah, just going out and getting sun. Sometimes sun gets demonized here in the States. I'm not quite sure why. It might be a political thing, and where people are constantly putting on sunscreen and things like that. What
Mm.
is your stance on that?
Yeah, sunscreen will help you avoid getting sunburnt, but
Right.
not anything more than that.
Mm.
So the sun lotion industry will, of course, have told everybody that it helps you to avoid getting melanoma,
Mm.
which is a dangerous kind of skin cancer, right? But it does not seem to be right. So the best way or the healthiest way to be in the sun is to have a gradual tan to avoid getting sunburned.
Mm.
Who wants that? But to be outside, early enough in the spring and then gradually get a solar callus, so to speak, to be
Hmm.
have this resilient skin that can tolerate the sun. So
And even we saw in COVID, there were so many things that we could have avoided if people just kind of got out. Because of vitamin D, it's just natural, and it's like you say, it's right there. We're very fortunate here in Tampa because we have a lot of sun.
yeah. Yeah, and it's not only vitamin D. So many doctors have said, even during COVID, that okay, just take the vitamin D. You don't have to go out. But it was obvious that vitamin D seems to be more of a biomarker that you have gotten enough sunshine and have all
Mm.
the other benefits from the sunshine as well. So when we started, supplementing the vitamin D, it didn't have the same effect as the people who already had the good vitamin D status because that came from the sunshine.
Wow. Torkel, you mentioned you've written 5 books. You said the last book, I believe, was the top 3 books in Norway. I mean, what is your process of being an author?
That is to write and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite.
Mm.
So of course I'm just a normal doctor until I after I did my change of lifestyle, I read a book called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And he said, if you know more than other people in a certain area, you should write a book.
Hmm.
And I had not written a word since university.
Hmm.
Writing whatever I need to do to pass my exams. So I had no experience in writing a book, but okay, I just thought, okay, I'll try. And then I started writing books and self-published the first two or three, and then I got a publisher, and then I got the largest publisher in Norway to that made me write the Pulse Cure about heart rate variability and these different lifestyle changes. And yeah, so I kind of write and rewrite. I write one time the whole book through from beginning to end,
Wow.
and then I just start again and rewrite maybe 10 times
Wow.
so that it gets a little bit better for every rewriting I do. So that's my strategy.
Wow. So is the first time just stream of consciousness? Are you
Stream
actually
of consciousness, yeah, because
really?
you kind of know, because in the beginning when you do a creative project, being perfectionistic is just gonna hamper your creativity. So the first time I write it, I just don't think about anything. I just write whatever comes to mind, because I
Wow.
know this is not the way it's going to look like in the end anyway.
Mm. Mm.
And then I add kind of a layer of perfecting it a little bit by bit until at the end, you really polish it to get it as to be a very easy read. So it's like when you are reading it the first time, it's kind of a bumpy ride, but it becomes more and more like a highway in the end, where you can read really fast the book
Mm.
because it's more fluent, yeah, more fluid.
Do you has technology helped you in this area at all in writing?
Not really. Until now, I'm writing a book on sun exposure.
Hmm.
And there is so much information that to get all the information Then I use ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. And then, of course, I have to control everything in the back of that, but it's able to find
Yeah,
studies and explain it to me in a way that is just not almost not
it's
believable what it can
amazing.
do. Just
Yeah,
amazing. So I would be unintelligent not to use the artificial intelligence,
right.
but I still have to then take all the information and write it in my style, of course. So
Mm,
it just,
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, and verify. I mean, it's like hiring many interns, and
Yeah.
it really is something. And I think it's gonna has the wearables, all this technology. I mean, I complain that it should be in another place, but I mean, has it been overall a benefit technology to the healthcare industry?
Oh, maybe not to the healthcare industry because that's a big threat for them,
Ah,
right? So because what we do as doctors, what I'm trained to do, and more or less all doctors and all healthcare institutions are trained within, is to wait until you get sick and then do something.
mm,
And there's a lot of money in that business,
right.
so there's no incentive to keep you healthy.
Huh.
So this technology is actually quite a threat, I think, to the healthcare industry, because this helps you to take charge of your health, because suddenly you have the numbers on your wrist available at all times, aided by algorithms gathered from millions of users and artificial intelligence. So suddenly you're sitting with the control here. Because when I started, okay, I've been working as a doctor for 26 years. I was educated in the 90s. Then we doctors had the power. I knew the results. There was not even necessary to explain to the patients. They wouldn't understand it anyway. The words I
Mm,
was using and explaining what was wrong. They just wanted the pill that I prescribed, right? So now there's a totally different situation where instead of me having the power, waiting until you get sick, and spend using expensive medicines that is only, like a band-aid, it's not really solving the problem. We're going to that you have the control, you have the numbers, and it helps you to avoid getting sick in the first place.
hmm,
So it's really a major shift, and most people interested in health and wellness will know this. They're fully informed, much more than my colleague doctors.
mm.
And I know it's like that in the U.S. as well. So
Yes, it
because I'm,
is.
yeah, so it's a major shift really, and so this new technology that helps you understand your own physiology and health level is, I think it's gonna be the solution to the big health problem for the ones who are wants to take control of their own
Mm,
health.
mm,
The rest will get sick and die 20 years early. So
right.
so which side do you want to be on? But technology will help that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I moved to the Tampa area in the last year and a half or so, Torkel, and I got new doctors, and the doctor that I got actually asked me what I eat. I said, "You're the first one who's ever asked me that." I would think every doctor wants to know what you're putting in your body to be healthy. I And I applauded him for that. But it's just you're right. There's a certain lack of proactiveness in the community, and I do think there's a shift now. Just last night, the girlfriend's having some stomach issues, and I said, "Well, ask ChatGPT." And within an hour, she came back. She says, "Oh my, I can't believe this stuff that they're telling me. I ordered some probiotics. It's coming tomorrow. I can't believe it's this good." I said, "Well, give it a shot and be a detective and see if it helps." But it's interesting that you look at it as a threat because, yeah, because generally speaking, the Medicare profession is reactive. When something happens, they're reacting and it's not proactive. It's going to be interesting to see where we go.
Yeah, and there's a lot of money into being reactive, and there's
Mm.
almost no money into being proactive,
Huh.
because everything that helps you, all the advice in the Pulse Cure, more or less all of them are free.
Hmm.
Fasting is even cheaper, of course,
Yes.
than what you can eat. Being outside in the sunshine, sleeping, breath work, uh, is all free.
Right.
You know, so it doesn't have any. You cannot monetize on that, right?
Mm.
So, and that is the problem too, that there's no commercial pressure behind it.
Mm.
So, so that is probably a problem, actually.
Yeah, and even here in the States, the drug companies can actually have commercials on television, and they're influencing, certain news. And I know, I think us in New Zealand, I think, are the only countries that can actually do that. I mean, so that industry is often looked at and said, you benefit by people being unhealthy. It does some
Hmm.
good as well, but it is a bit backwards. It's going to be very
Yeah,
interesting to
so
see where it goes.
yeah, right. Because there's no commercials, that would say, "Okay, are you in pain? Do you have joint pain? Go outside."
Right.
This,
Right.
who would want to pay
Sure.
that commercial, right?
Yeah, lose weight and get
Mm.
healthy. Yeah, they don't say that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
They say take a pill. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Cold plunge.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, again, something that's doesn't cost a lot of money. I mean, you could do it but the benefits we're finding, certainly Scandinavia's known this for decades, for centuries
Mhm.
perhaps, but we're
Yeah,
finding it here more in the States becoming more popular.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, going into a cold exposure will help you to dampen inflammation. So that is
Mm,
what athletes use after exercise, and it's what we can use as well. And it gives us much more resilience. We are kind of in a comfort crisis where we're all the time in the room temperature,
mm,
even in the car, inside, outside as well. So when we challenge our physiology with cold and hot temperature, it's like exercising. We are training our system, building resilience. But we also have to be aware that this is, it's a stressor. It is
mm.
should be regarded as an exercise, right? So, and even they are finding out. I saw a recent research on multiple sclerosis patients that when they did cold water immersion or cold exposure, they made vitamin D.
Wow.
And the reason seems to be that our cells are actually making light. There are biophotons produced in the cells that are communicating and then seems to be making vitamin D from the cold. So that
Wow.
is probably a mechanism by which animals can live in cold territories and still have vitamin D. So light, and it's such an important part of our biology. We are used to think that light is just what makes it possible for me to see you.
Mm.
Um, but now we know that light has is pure electromagnetic energy right from the sun,
Amazing.
right? It's
Amazing.
keeping everything on Earth alive.
Mm.
And it also helps our cells to be more productive, better energy production, better mitochondria, and so on.
Wow.
So, so it's really have a strong biological effect on us.
Hmm. And the order in which you do, I believe, cold plunge, then workout, and then sauna, right? It's important to keep that particular order.
Oh,
Do I have
or
that right?
you can mix that.
You
Yeah,
can. But after a heavy workout, isn't it not good to do cold plunge? Do I have that wrong?
yeah. I think it's not good to do a cold plunge because you may dampen the inflammation that the body needs to build itself stronger.
Mm.
So, if you're trying to get bigger muscles, it's not good to take a cold plunge after.
Right after,
But
yeah.
I've heard, I'm not so much into that, but that if you do cold immersion before a workout,
Right.
you may get stronger.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
That's yeah, yeah,
Cold, workout, and then heat, and then sauna. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I have some friends that do that. Again, so when you make a decision, Torkel, I find you to be, very analytical. You do have some artistry on your side because you sail and there's lots of that. When you make a decision, generally speaking, is it more art? Is it more science than art in your life?
I think it's both. I think it's maybe it's more a curiosity of life,
Mm,
exploring life, wanting to see how everything is connected. And that probably is connected to the arts. I'm a photographer. I've made documentary films and so on. I still do some of that. But I found out that to be able to do that for a longer time, I needed to dive into the science to find out how can I live longer and do
mm,
more of that. So I think it's all a mix. You need to be creative, and maybe that's part of why I have in the work with the pulse cure and the other things I do find things that the other doctors that are too narrow minded into the science have
mm,
not seen.
mm,
So that may be the reason that the kind of creative artist part of me has been helpful in seeing possibilities where the others didn't. Because
mm,
the pulse cure, believe it or not, right? You have the Aura Ring, you have Samsung Watch, you have Garmin Watch, you have smartwatches. The pulse cure is the only book that will tell you how to use it compared to uh, lifestyle strategies.
mm.
If you want to find a book on nutrition and you go to Amazon, you know, it, there are thousands.
Yes.
A book on exercise, thousands or hundreds of thousands.
Yes.
How to use smartwatches to improve your lifestyle. There's one,
Hmm.
right? There's actually one more that is self-published. I haven't read it, but still, at least what I am able to search on Amazon is still just one book.
Interesting.
So I don't know why that is, and it's very weird that I'm the one who has written it. But maybe that has something to do with it.
Hmm.
That I have this background of being a doctor, but what I've really been looking for throughout my life is a more artistic and being out there exploring the world. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Certainly, yeah. You blinked for just a moment, but yeah, you're a photographer and you also do documentary films. I mean, that's a real wide separation from what you do now. I guess you just like to be well rounded, like you said.
Yeah, but my big plan for 2028 is to go on an electric bike across the states. There's an American Discovery Trail from Delaware to San Francisco,
Yes.
and I would love to do that in 2028 and make a documentary to see,
Wow.
discover America. So
Wow.
so so it's still in my head, these
Yes.
projects.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that'd be very cool. I mean, we could watch you through it, with all the social media. We could watch you during it and you could record it all and you can
Yeah,
write about it later. I mean, that's and then 2028 is 3 years from now. My goodness, you
yeah,
never know what kind of technologies will be available. Plus, we could probably
yeah,
be in tune with your wearables and know what your HRV is at all. I mean,
yeah. Maybe.
in real time. Yeah, that would be really, really interesting. Have you, in the last month or so, Torkil, month or 6 weeks, have you changed your mind on anything?
I have actually. Actually, just this weekend, I just I'm writing a book on sun exposure, and I understood that okay, I cannot live in Norway for whether there's winter half the year, so I need to get my RV. I have a motorhome, and just drive it down to the Canary Islands, which is just outside Africa,
Yes.
and just spend parts of the winter there
Hmm.
to make sure that in the long winter months, Norway is at the same latitude as Alaska. It's very far up north,
I
right?
didn't realize that.
Yeah, because of the Gulf Stream, it is warmer, but it's
Right.
still the latitude and the sun, of course, then sunshine. Actually, find out that I need more sunshine. So I changed my plans a bit for the future and will stay with me and my wife, spend more time further south. So that is one that I hope will
Mm.
be a big change in my life. Yeah.
Because the sun, as we get older, is the sun more necessary?
More necessary because also our bodies become worse at producing vitamin D. Our
Uh,
mitochondria will be worse, and we even need that energy from the sun even more as we get older. Until we're 40, 45, our bodies take care of us, but after we get like 45, we have to take care of our bodies,
Mm.
and sunlight is one of the ways. And of course, it's easy, you go outside. So that is one big change. If that was the kind of change that you had in mind, is very.
Yeah, there's no wrong answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to think that we're all able to change our mind given some new evidence. Some people kind of
Yeah.
lock in. So I had, you had your kind of, come to Jesus moment when your father passed. So I had something similar when I started my business in the '90s when you were in medical school, I believe. And I was working way too hard, Torkil, and I was 14, 16-hour days. You know this, not recovering well and not eating well at all. And next thing I know, I'm at the doctor. I'm at 340 pounds. So I had gained
Oh.
terrible amount of weight. Yeah. And she says to me, and I barely recognize. I'm an athlete all my life, soccer, tennis, but it was terrible. So she says to me, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. So my daughter was just born. So it scared the life out of me. I'm driving home. I'm punching the steering wheel. What have I done? I can abuse myself all I want, but I've got this child now, and it's more than me. So the next 6, 7 months, I lost about 120 pounds and I kept it off, right? These are lifelong changes you have to make, right? Like yourself.
Hmm.
And so when I tell people this, they always say, what's your secret? What you do? And there's no secret. You mentioned it before, discipline, right? Willpower, focus,
Hmm.
routine. That's how I did it. That's how I continue to do it. How does discipline play a role in your life?
Yeah. So that is very, very impressive, by the way. That is a job well done, and unbelievable, and it shows that it is possible.
Mm,
Uh, Very important. No, I think the same way. So it's about discipline. It's about, like, as I said, I've been on a 3-day wedding, and of course you're eating more, drinking more.
sounds great.
Then it's about having discipline that when you come home, you have to make up
Mm,
for that.
mm,
Have a couple of days where you eat less, which
yes,
will make you a bit hungry,
yes.
but you still have to use the discipline and not be tempted to continue eating as much, as you would have if you hadn't had those 3 days of overeating. So I think it's the small parts of discipline every day that makes the difference. It's a compound effect. That is what has made you successful in getting down to that weight and being healthier, and will see your daughter being old, or
Yes.
at least doing your part of
Mm,
that equation. So yeah, it's about the compound effect. The small uncomfortable things every day makes it comfortable over time, and the opposite, small comfortable things that you do every day will make it uncomfortable in
mm,
the end.
mm,
So my patients that I normally treat as a doctor, I'm a normal general practitioner and an emergency physician, and they have been taking the easy choices. I can see that, taking small easy choices every day. But as they get into their 50s and 60s, just being alive is hard for them.
mm,
Just going to their cars, I can see that they are not able to run like 200 yards
mm,
without being very, very, very fatigued. So it's about making those small efforts every day, getting into a routine to do it, and that will make life more comfortable and longer. um, that is
mm.
my idea of it. Yeah.
And in your household as a child, was discipline kind of instilled? Was it talked about? I mean, your decision to go to medical school is a big one. Did you was it always there? Did you always consider yourself disciplined even as a youth?
Maybe because I was, as a youth, I was disciplined because I was an athlete.
Mm.
I was in canoeing or kayaking, or
Ah,
I was on the national team.
wow.
So I was exercising every day for 5 years until I exercised too hard, and got injured and just stopped.
Mm.
But I think that taught me discipline and getting used to do that effort every
Mm.
day. So that may have been a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to being uncomfortable at certain points. This whole idea, we're in a society now where just kind of like you say, every room's the same temperature when you're in the car. This kind of comfort expectation is there, but getting yourself uncomfortable a little bit and, fasting or putting, heavy weights or, running and doing sweating, things like this. It's something I actually long for and I crave because I just know it's improving myself and my mental and my body. It's just it's a mindset that needs to change on some people. Those people that you talk about that can't even run 200 yards and they're just kind of slipped into this comfortableness, and it's something we should try to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very, very. It's I don't know. I don't know where it comes from, but I just enjoy it. What motivates you?
Uh, Everything,
Hmm.
almost. I think, yeah, yeah, almost everything. There's so many interesting things to do, things to find out, books to read, places to go, things to explore, people to meet. So I have no lack of motivation, really. Books to be
Hmm.
written. Yeah,
You're curious
I'm curious. Yeah, to satisfy
eternally.
my curiosity. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you want to constantly be learning.
And as I've always been a freelancer, even as a doctor. So I've always been able to, if an opportunity comes my way, to grab it.
Hmm.
And that, I think many people will be stuck in their jobs. So if an opportunity comes their way, they can't take
Hmm.
it,
Hmm.
and that makes it almost harder, so that they are just, you know, putting their, I don't know what you have on your
Blinders.
horses, blinders on,
Blinders. Yeah.
not to see the opportunities because they can't take it. It's just more painful to get them. So I think having a free life, being able to write a book if I can, make a movie if I can, just go sailing if I can, then it has made it possible for me to grab opportunities and follow my curiosity. So that is important, I think.
Want to show your love for discipline, inspiration, and the Joey Pinz podcast? Now's your chance. Introducing the brand new Joey Pinz merch store, where style meets discipline. Choose from premium apparel, cozy hoodies, stylish hats, durable bags, and your new favorite coffee mug, all featuring the iconic Joey Pinz logo. Perfect for podcast fans, discipline enthusiasts, or as unique gifts for friends and family. Every purchase supports the Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations podcast, helping us continue to inspire greatness and promote positive change. Visit joeypins.com/store today and wear your discipline proudly. Joey Pinz merch. Wear it, share it, and live it. I find, Torkil, as I get older, I have more questions than I have answers.
Yeah.
It's just something I have found. So given your motivation of curiosity and always learning, how do you measure success?
Success is what that you can live the life the way you want it, to do
Hmm.
what you want to do at any given time, within reason, of course, and that would be my idea of success.
Freedom.
Freedom, yeah, doing what you want to do out of life. People are under living, or they
Hmm.
are, they are not taking advantage of this opportunity to be on the earth, for an average 80 years. They're
Hmm.
just squandering the chance of everything that they can see and experience. So um, so uh, yeah, yeah, I think so.
Well, I love what you're doing. I love your attitude. Some of your books aren't available in English, correct?
Only one, unfortunately,
All
only the
right.
pulse cure. So hopefully the sun cure will be so successful that it will be translated also into English and other languages. So
Oh, with all this technology we have, your publisher can translate it pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, yeah, hopefully. So, but the thing is probably to publish it, or maybe I could even self-publish it.
Mm,
I prefer to have a publisher. So the Polsker is now translated or being translated into 9 languages. The last one is
wow.
Chinese. So that would be cool to see the book in Chinese. So.
That'd be very cool. And do you do the oral? Do you do
The
the spoken,
narration?
the
No,
narration?
no, that is a
No.
British person that is speaking
Ah,
it in
I
the
see.
audiobook. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
there's trained actors that do that.
yeah.
I thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed talking. Anybody watching or listening, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, on Instagram, I have 2 Instagrams. I have the one that is primarily Norwegian, which is dr.torkil, but I also have a smaller one, a newer one, English, which is doc.torkil. So they can reach me there. Yeah.
And Torkil is Torkil.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to put it in the show notes. I
Hmm.
thank you so much for your time. I hope that if I make my way up there, or maybe in the Canary Islands, or wherever you may be, maybe we'll get together and have a cup of tea.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Great.
I really appreciate your
Or
time. You be well.
maybe I'll be in Florida before that.
Even better. Even better. Plenty of tea here. Yes. I'll talk to you soon. Be well.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information. The video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations.